Alright, so I see the red light is on, and that's right. Welcome to another episode of the In the Hot Seat podcast. And in this week's episode, I will be talking about WWE Clash at the Castle, which happened as of yesterday. This is Sunday, so I'll be able to talk about it the day after. So, gonna get right down into it. And quite a lot has happened being able to deal with Clash at the Castle. I feel like this is one of my favorite pay-per-views next to SummerSlam and WrestleMania as of right now throughout 2022. And for the premium live event where we did actually have a return of the kickoff matches, which is really nice to actually see that happen. And being able to deal with just talk all the time can be a little bit repetitive, and being able to see a match again, which is really cool, even though it's random and put together. Where we had Madcap Moss tagging with the Street Profits. We had Austin Theory having his name back, his full name back, from Theory to now Austin Theory again, which is great to see that. Dealing with the Alpha Academy to actually deal with the kickoff show for that only match that we did get to see. And being able to see Montez Ford do his thing and being able to go airborne, which is really cool, and having the Street Profits actually be able to get their win with Madcap Mouse and everything. So an interesting pairing, especially with Madcap Mouse basically being on SmackDown dealing with the Street Profits more involved, but they could be on basically both brands with the tag team titles being unified. So that was very interesting as a pairing as a whole. We started things off with the main card where we had a women's tag team action, of course Bianca Belair and her team with Asuka and Alexa Bliss, and as well Bayley and her team now being finally called Damage Control, which is confirmed with Io Sky and as with Dakota Kai on this one, and being able to see the cool spots and everything out of the teams and everything. And the crowd is really into Bayley. I miss the UK crowd, even though I've been watching them more on NXT UK and everything. But being able to see them in Cardiff and being able to see them basically on fire throughout the whole entire night, which is really cool. So it could have really been either or, but Damage Control actually getting a much needed win on that. So that was definitely surprising in its own way, in a way. But being able to see that was really cool then. Then we get into the Intercontinental Championship match where we had not only Gunther, but we had the rest of the Imperium actually being there with him, which is really awesome. Giovanni being able to be there, which is really cool. So being able to have them in full force made sense, and I'm happy about that. So that was awesome. So thank you Triple H on that. And Gunther and Sheamus basically having a little clash in a war and to see who was the better out of the two. I was really pulling for Sheamus to get the Intercontinental title, but Gunther able to actually get a big win over Sheamus, and really interesting having him win over the former WWE champion. So that was really interesting there. And then we get into the SmackDown Women's title, Liv Morgan and Shayna Baszler on this one. And this one I wasn't too sure how it was going to turn out and everything, since Shayna Baszler is more of the submission, basically the submission magician on that, and being able to see her dominance again, which is really cool. But Liv Morgan was able to train Matt Riddle to see how she would be able to handle things dealing with submission moves. It was shown here. And Liv Morgan actually surprisingly gets the win and retains her title, which is cool, so I'm happy about that. And I wanted to see her continue as SmackDown Women's Champion and as a face, because seeing her as a heel wouldn't really make too much sense. So I'm happy she's able to still be a face. And then we get into the tag team match, Edge and Rey Mysterio dealing with the Judgment Day, Finn Balor and Damian Priest. In this one, we've seen everybody basically get their part, from Dominic Mysterio being able to help out Rey Mysterio Edge, and as well Rhea Ripley dealing with hyping up the Judgment Day and everything. I actually thought the Judgment Day would have actually gotten their win here, but that wasn't the case, and Edge and Rey Mysterio actually got the win. But there was a but and a twist on this one, and basically everyone's speculating when was this going to finally happening, and it happened. Dominic did the turn and turned heel, basically kicking Edge in the dick on that, and as well attacking his father Rey Mysterio. So now the question is he on his own or is he with the Judgment Day? That remains to be seen. I know he's been having his problems with wanting, having the Judgment Day members have him join them, but I don't know if that's going to happen. Having him on his own, I think would be really cool. Then we get into Seth Rollins and Matt Riddle, one of my favorite matches of the night, having to see the chemistry and seeing how intense things have been lately between the two really paid off. Couldn't went really either or, but Seth Rollins actually came back and defeated Riddle. I can see things continuing between Matt Riddle and Seth Rollins, and eventually having Randy Orton get involved whenever he comes back from injury. So whenever that happens, we'll see what happens there. And then we get into the main event, the undisputed, of course, WWE Universal Championship with Roman Reigns and as well Drew McIntyre after Seth Rollins and as well Matt Riddle in that match. This one was definitely really crazy, to say the least, because in this one we not only saw the return somewhat of Broken Dreams. It wasn't like the full on entrance, but it was like a cool video package before the match, being able to see that. So that was cool. At some point we did have Tyson Fury there in full support. We had Karrion Kross and as well Scarlett kind of getting involved a little bit, not far too much, but just reminding them to see like they want basically the winner of the match, it looks like. And also we did get to see Austin Theory try and cash in, but Tyson Fury didn't want it, so laying the fuck out of Austin Theory on that, so he didn't get to fully cash in, so it's just a tease there. And then the match being able to continue, being able to see it all between the spear, the Superman punch, the Claymore a couple of times. Basically, both of them getting really frustrated at times to see how they would be able to stop each other. And then we got the missing piece of the puzzle where we had Solo Sikoa actually helping out Roman Reigns and actually being called up. So I was wondering when that was going to happen, so I'm not far too surprised, but unfortunately Drew McIntyre lost, and as well Roman Reigns keeping both titles. So I really wanted Drew McIntyre to win. I feel like it would have been the right time to actually do that, especially in his hometown, but that wasn't the case. So even though he did lose, I'm sure he will want his rematch at some point. So we'll definitely see what happens there. And that's basically it for Clash at the Castle. Those are my thoughts. So what are yours? As always, leave it in the comment box, or as well for Twitter, be able to continue the discussion as well for Clash at the Castle. So I'll be able to talk about it with you on there too as well, besides YouTube. So as always, on the YouTube side of things, subscribe and as well hit the notification bell to stay notified for all of my videos, and as well be able to leave a like as always. So helping out support the channel always helps out and is always appreciated. So until then, let me know your thoughts on Clash at the Castle, and it looks like it's going to be a yearly thing, so that's really cool. I look forward to that and curious to see what happens for Clash at the Castle just for next year. So that about does it for this episode of the In the Hot Seat podcast, for the In the Hot Seat podcast, and I will be back definitely for sure for not only Worlds Collide but as well for AEW All Out. So a lot more to get through for this weekend, and definitely for next thing will be Victory Road and so on and so forth, and to keep things going. So definitely a lot to look forward to for the In the Hot Seat podcast. And until then, hopefully you enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I'll catch you guys next time. Till then, see ya.